Hello, I'm Darren Jones, the Technical Training Specialist for Iconics Imaging. What I'd like to show you now is how to replace your pinch valve bladder in your CrystalBlast 3624. What you do first is disconnect your air hose coming in. Next, you can start disconnecting your hoses. Then what we would do is grab a channel lock, turn it like so. Now what we do with this unit is bring it over to our shop area where we have a bench vise, and we're going to be doing that next. Now we have our pinch valve and our bench vise, and we're going to be removing the bladder and inserting a new one. What you do first is take your channel lock, just basically loosen it up, and pull it off. Now, for demonstration purposes, the backside was taken off previously. Now, what we need to do is pop out this bladder. I generally use a screwdriver, and I'll go through the hole and push. It does take a lot of pressure, but it will come out. Okay? So we have our bladder out. We're going to inspect it for any kind of tears, any imperfections. This one looks good, so we're going to put it back in. And for putting it back, you're always going to want to use soapy water. That's very important because you want that good lubrication, so it's not as hard twisting it and pushing on it to get it to go through. So I just lube it a little bit. Just make sure you don't get any water on the inside of the bladder. If you get it on the outside, that'll be fine. So as you can see here, we got this rubber flange here. And we have a small opening. And what we do is you take with your screwdriver, and you're going to basically push in on the flange. Kind of press it right into that hole. Make sure that your screwdriver you're using is a blunt tip. If it's a sharp point, you could puncture a hole in the bladder. So I use a blunt, rather thick tip, so it's not as sharp. Okay. Then you pull it out the other end. So it's flush on the front side. Basically, what I'm doing here is pulling on that flange once again. So it sits on the outside of the hole, so it's flush. So now that I have it in there in place, grab my end, screw it back on, do the same on the back side. And we're ready to install it back on the CrystalBlast 3624. Now that we've replaced your bladder and your pinch valve, we're now ready to install it back on our CrystalBlast. Reattach your hoses, like so. We're back in action here. Thank you.